How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs beat writer on SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in today. I greatly do appreciate it, as I always do. Today, we're going to take a detour from our expectations because I felt like this was a fun little topic to cover for the upcoming season. Today, we're going to be talking about the five quarterbacks that will give the Chiefs the most problems this season. Now, I say that meaning that not saying that they're for sure going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. These are just the biggest names that the Chiefs are going to face off throughout the entire season that will give them the most trouble. At least on paper, they should give them the most trouble. So without further ado, and I also got this idea from one of my articles that I wrote way back when, right after the schedule came out. So you will have to go and check that out. So let's get started right away. Let's go 5-1. So the fifth best quarterback that I see the Kansas City Chiefs facing this season is Jayden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. Now, Daniels is the what if category, right? He could have definitely been the quarterback that the Chiefs faced in the Super Bowl this past season. Obviously, they got knocked out to the Philadelphia Eagles, but even in the game and throughout their whole season, Jayden Daniels put together one of the better rookie seasons we've seen in the NFL in a long time, from a quarterback, that is. He was effective. He was a huge portion of getting the Commanders to where they were. He led them past the Detroit Lions in that upset that no one saw coming. Jayden Daniels has the wherewithal and the football IQ of being able to maneuver downfield. He's got a lot of speed on his side when he's rushed in the pocket. I think that Jayden Daniels is going to be one of the top quarterbacks going forward in the National Football League. However, I do see Kansas City having their way with, I guess, what is the easiest thing to say, with the Washington Commanders. And I mean that as if that Jayden Daniels is going into his second season. He's still young. He's yet to face the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's going to learn very quickly that the Chiefs are no joke. They're one of the most difficult teams to take on in the National Football League. And while there are high hopes for Jayden Daniels in his career, I think that it might be a difficult thing for the Kansas City Chiefs to try and take him down, if so to say. So with that, he is the number 5 on my list. And sticking, we're going to go with number 4, the Detroit Lions quarterback, Jared Goff. I think, in my humble opinion, that Jared Goff is one of the more underrated quarterbacks that the NFL has. While he's not going to be the most limber on his feet, he makes explosive plays. We know how the Detroit Lions offense is set up. Their defense ran into some troubles down the line last season, but it was highly predicted that the Chiefs and the Lions were going to, clash in the Super Bowl. But, one thing led to another, and Jared Goff and the Lions were eliminated before even getting that chance. It still eludes them that first Super Bowl appearance. But I think that with another season under the belt, Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes, they know how to play one another. There's always a high competition. Jared Goff beat the Chiefs the last time that they played. And I think just that in itself is enough to kind of get you into the top 5, really depending, because not a lot of teams are able to beat the Chiefs. I mean, they went 15-2 last season. They're a difficult team to beat. I think that Jared Goff has the veteranship on his side, the veteran leadership on his side to be able to help propel the Lions to several victories, but it's going to be the Chiefs defense is going to have their hands full. However, we do know that the Chiefs defense, whenever there's defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, he's got his hands on that defensive scheme. There's no There's no doubt. As the t-shirt reads, in Spags we trust. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kansas City Chiefs defense, they do. They trust Steve Spagnuolo. Number 3, Lamar Jackson. This is one of the more highly underrated matchups going into the season that I feel like hasn't been covered a whole lot by media, analysts, and all that. So Lamar Jackson will be heading, and the Baltimore Ravens will be heading to Arrowhead in week 4 to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Jackson hasn't necessarily done the best against Kansas City, but he's, always in the hunt, a perennial MVP candidate. And he's been one of the most elusive guys to take down on the defense. While Mahomes and the Chiefs have found a way to limit the offense and hold him back, I do think that there is some extra oomph coming from the Baltimore Ravens this season, but I don't think that they're going to be able to stop Kansas City. I think that Lamar Jackson is the 3rd best quarterback going up against the Chiefs this season. That's going to give them a run for their money. And I also think that because of how early they play during their campaign, like I said, week 4, there's still a lot of, highs and lows to figure out in the early weeks of the NFL campaign. But after week 4 against a team like Baltimore and a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, they're going to figure it out real quick, the Chiefs are, on how to succeed and how not to succeed. Number 2, the number 2 quarterback that is going to give the Chiefs the most difficulty is a guy that they are so familiar with. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen. They face off week 9. It's going to be a showdown. I know that Chiefs Kingdom already has that date circled on their calendar. This is the matchup that they always want to see. Who's going to take home the victory? Is it going to be Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, or is it going to be the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen? History would tell you that during the regular season, the Buffalo Bills are going to take the game, but in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs know what's up. They know how to hold it down. But since they're facing off in the regular season, I think that Josh Allen, the reigning MVP, he's earned that spot. He has nothing but respect. Both Mahomes and Jackson, from what we've seen in their interactions, they have nothing but respect for one another. They are just 2 competitors laying it out on the field, and they're always giving a fun competition. Regardless, Josh Allen knows the Chiefs very well, the defense and all. So much so that I can see there's a world where, it's another close game between Buffalo and Kansas City. I think that hopefully the rookies are able to shine through when they do end up facing up against Josh Allen, because he's a difficult cookie to crack. And the number 1 quarterback on my rankings that the Chiefs are going to face is the man that took them down in the Super Bowl, and that is Jalen Hurts. I wrote on my article about Jalen Hurts, I said the Eagles quarterback gave the Chiefs defense its biggest test of the season in the Super Bowl. While Hurts is coming off a season where his passing yards were below average, he showed that even on his worst days at the office, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. The Chiefs and Eagles will compete in their Super Bowl rematch in week 2 of the season in hopes that the Chiefs can pencil in a victory over the team that stood in their way of history. Now, I think that Jalen Hurts, he's been able to take down the Kansas City Chiefs. He knows how that's going to go. In due part, though, you got to give credit to the Eagles defense, because they were able to, fight their way through the Chiefs' lackluster offensive line. But I think that while he is going to be the most difficult because he's the most recent guy who owns a victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, I think the Chiefs are going to come out firing on all cylinders, and they are going to try their best to reverse exactly what happened to them during the Super Bowl, and hopefully lay belt to booty on in week 2. That being said, that's going to wrap up today's podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. If you want to chime off and sound off on all of our stories and keep up with the Chiefs this offseason, you can follow me at Dom Minchella on X. I post and repost every single day. You can also follow us at KC Chiefs on SI, where you can see all of our stories. You're not going to want to miss it as we get closer and closer to the 2025 NFL campaign. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, Chiefs Kingdom, be kind to one another, and I'll see you tomorrow.